What's going on, guys? Welcome back to 3D Arcade for a brand new season of Draft League content here on the channel. Me and the Arkansas Pigknights, merch available now in the description, are joining the BBR, the Breedjects Battle Royale, a YouTuber draft league with 20 competitors this season for Season 3. And today we're going over the draft for our team, our franchise, our squad that we're hoping to take to victory. For those of you guys who are wondering how a draft league works, it's similar to fantasy football in the sense that you pick the players you may or may not want. You have some backups in case somebody gets you because you go in an order, and you randomize the order of pickers and you go down a list of allowed Pokemon, build a competitive team up to 11 Pokemon. You'll bring 6 each week and you see how well you can do in a 6v6 battle, one on one, blah blah blah. Item clause is not a thing in singles, so you can have repetitive items. All regular abilities are usually allowed depending upon your drafted Pokemon. Certain things may be disallowed, such as Libero Cinderace, and you just go down, and in our case we did 11 rounds with 1100 points. So instead of having tiers of S, A, B, C, etc., 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, we had tiers from 20 points to 200 points. I had to think about it, and you had to be able to get all 11 of your Pokemon in there. For this season of BBR, we're also going to have 5 transactions, I believe. Up through the first 7 weeks, it's going to be a 12-week season. There'll be a battle each week with one of our competitors, and the top 8 will move on to playoffs. So with all that explained, let me know if you have any more questions down in the description, in the comments section. I'll see you guys down there. Drop a like, and let's jump right into pick number 1. Alright guys, so in the draft for BBR Season 3, we were the first pick in the snake style draft, which meant we got the very first pick of the entire draft, and then going all the way back down and all the way back up, we get the last pick of round 2 and the first pick of round 3, and so on until we were done. So for our first pick, I decided to come out of the gate with the brand new legendary from Crown Tundra that everybody hated in VGC when it was a thing, Landorus, Terrian, I'm not sure. Lando T is probably what I'm gonna call him. That is our first pick. He is a ground flying type. And before I get any further, shout out to Pedro Juan Miranda at the Pedro J on Twitter for this beautiful art, paid for by the admins of BBR, to give us all a consistent looking draft analysis. And make sure you guys go check out the draft stream. I'm not sure where it's gonna be, but if you're interested, check out at BBR Pokemon League on Twitter, and there's probably a draft going on right now or right before this, and the full draft analysis will be uploaded on YouTube most likely a few days from now. I don't know how quickly Twitch processes. Normally the analysis is done there. That said, let's get back to Landorus. So Landorus Therian is a very hard, very versatile hitter. He has lots of things he can do. He's a ground flying type, which is a pretty cool typing. It means that he is not only immune to ground types because he's a flying type, he's also immune to electric moves, which I'm writing down right now because I forgot. He's immune to electric moves because he's a ground type, which takes away a flying weakness. It's pretty cool. So his base stats are ridiculous. Let me come over here and scroll up on my own page. He's got 89 HP, 145 attack, 90 defense, 105 special attack, 80 special defense, and 91 speed. Kind of a weird speed. In Sword and Shield right now, 95 to 100 is considered pretty good speed. Anything lower than that is kind of slow. You will see a lot of our team kind of falls in this low, medium speed tier category, but we have lots of plans for that. So also worth noting for Landorus is that he has the Intimidate ability, so anytime someone comes in, anytime he switches on to someone, we will lower their attack by 1 stage, which is also really helpful. That 145 attack hits really hard, and 105 kind of makes him a mixed attacker, even though obviously 40 extra base points is going to make him primarily physical. He's also going to be able to be a Stealth Rocker, a Defogger, which is a hazards removal, U-turn for more momentum, and Knockoff for item removal on our team. Week 1 probably coming out in a few days from now for a team builder. Right now I'm thinking I'm going to do the team builder separate. Landorus is one of those Pokemon that at 200 points you kind of expect me to bring every week, so we are going to be bringing him week 1. I'm not gonna hide that. Hopefully Howler doesn't see this, but he probably assumes that I'm bringing Landorus because obviously, obvious reasons, right? We're going to go over that. We're going to go over what's going to be really good about him. We're going to go over his moveset for that, but he's got lots of versatility and he hits really hard. He's got Earthquake, he's got Earth Power, I think he's got a Grass type move in there. He's got some weird coverage moves that are just really, really cool. So next up, let's jump into pick number 2. That's going to be the 160-point pick of Primarina, the water fairy type starter from the Alola region you all probably know and love. And honestly, I was really happy to pick Primarina up in the draft. I was worried it was going to go away since I had to wait to the end of round 2. I was kind of looking for Tapu Koko because I had this like perfect idea of a really expensive Volt U-turn core with Landorus and Tapu Koko, but that's okay. Obviously, that was going to get picked up. Tapu Koko is a great mon, but we managed to snag Primarina. Tapu Fini was my other potential choice here, another water fairy type, a little bit less heavy on the attack, but also more equally defensive, whereas Primarina is really only specially defensive. So we got what we got, though. Tapu Fini ended up getting picked like 2 picks before this or something like that, so I ended up having my choice made for me. But let's go over why Primarina was great for the squad here. It has an excellent typing. Water Fairy is super defensive. It resists a lot of things and really doesn't have that many weaknesses. And on top of that, it has a great special bulk, looking at 116 special defense, and it hits for 126 in special attack. It's got 80 HP. It's kind of medium low speed tier really of 60 base speed and 74 attack and defense. So, you know, it's okay, but it's got a great offensive move pool to take advantage of this special sort of aspect that it's got going on. It's got Shadow Ball. It's got its signature move, Sparkling Aria, but I think it also gets Hydro Pump. So great Water Stab. It's got Moon Blast, great Fairy Stab, and it's got it's just got so much. It gets Psychic. I think it gets it might get Iron Tail. It's got a ton of diversity though in its abilities, and it's got a lot of other stuff we're gonna do here in a minute. But before we move on, typing wise, a few more things to say. I am somebody who is pretty new to draft leagues, obviously, and we are trying to actually. This is the first draft that I've actually done my full team in my draft myself. Our previous season of FBL, I was not the one that drafted the original team, so worth noting. But I'm trying to build multiple cores, trying to get a couple of good things going for us defensively and offensively. Right now, we're looking okay, obviously. Landorus isn't super defensive, but it's okay. It's a great mixed attacker, but physical. And then Primarina is the special side of that is nice to see. Which, by the way, Primarina has the Torrent and Liquid Voice abilities. Liquid Voice makes all sound-based moves water, so you get stab on them. But it's not really useful. Super useful anyway. So we're probably going to be running Torrent, which is going to, at low HP, increase our stab, basically. It makes water type moves more effective. And okay, so moving on. The other thing that Primarina has going for it is it's part of 2 potential 3-way cores. Cores in competitive Pokemon are things that can switch out for one another to have resistances to things they would typically take super effective damage from. For example, with Primarina, it can be part of a Fairy Dragon Steel core or a Water Fire Grass core. Water Fire Grass is the one you're most used to. It's the starters. So obviously, a Grass type can switch in for a Fire type to take a Water type hit. A Water type can switch in for a Fire type to take a Grass... Wait, no. A Fire type can switch in for a Water type to take a Grass type hit. And a Grass type... I think I've now confused myself around the wheel. But Fire can switch in for Water. Grass can switch in for Fire. Water can switch in for Grass. There we go. Similar ideas with Fairy Dragon Steel. Dragon types hate Fairy types. Steel types don't super care. They're super effective on it. And Steel types don't love Dragon types, but Fairies are immune to Dragon types. So that's another great thing here. We do have a Dragon type immunity. Second pick, we already have 3 immunities on the team, so pretty great. Okay, we've gone over the base stats. Let's talk about the other things Primarina's got going for it. It's a couple of just little things. It does have priority move in Aqua Jet, which is stab priority, even though I think it's 40 base power, so 60, but you know, it's okay. And on top of that, we also have Flip Turn, which is a water type U-turn that's really good for us. It lets us keep our momentum. It stabs, so it's a little bit stronger, and that's a cool little move. And we also have the ability to set screens if we ever really need a defensive Primarina. I don't know if that'll be used with Primarina very much, but the option's there. Next up, we have got pick number 3 in the draft, the 80-point Jolteon pick. Now, everybody probably thought this was kind of weird for me to take it right away, but with Tapu Koko gone and a lot of the electric types being pretty expensive and some of our later picks being more expensive, I kind of felt like I needed to get a value pick here, and 80 points is on the lower half of the threshold. So I went with the EV Evolution Jolteon. Let's go for it, right? Wolfie's doing it, so I should be able to do it, right? Who knows? But Jolteon obviously is an electric type. That means it only has one weakness and ground, but it also doesn't have any immunities, and its resistances are sort of few and far between. But it can fulfill what I wanted in Tapu Koko, which is that Volt Turn core. It's really fast, kind of offsetting the slightly slower at 91 base speed Landorus, with a base speed of 130, and it can hit pretty hard, especially because it's got 95 special attack. No, sorry, 95 special defense, so it can take a good special hit pretty well, and 110 special attack, which is great. It's a little weaker on the physical side, its HP is not great, but specially it's okay, and it's super fast, which is good because it's going to be kind of a get in, get out kind of Pokemon, going for a lot of these Hollywood type, coming for the explosion that you can take, because lots of things that want to hit Landorus, like a grass type, it can come in, take a grass type hit, get a Volt Switch, get out, get a Wish Pass, that kind of thing. So, getting into what else Jolteon can do. By the way, Jolteon is, spoiler alert, the fastest Pokemon on our team. So, here we go. We do have a potential electric immunity in Jolteon. I know I said there weren't any with the typings earlier, but Jolteon has the Volt Absorb ability or the Quick Beat ability. Volt Absorb obviously gives us an electric type immunity, which is pretty cool. It's pretty nice to have that option. So, move pool wise, Jolteon gets access to some pretty powerful electric type moves. It also gets Heal Bale, my southern coming out. Heal Bell and Wish, which are both going to be great for status and health. Good cleric options there. We have the basic priority of Quick Attack, and as I mentioned on the momentum side, of course we have Volt Switch, but we also have Baton Pass, which Dry Baton Pass is allowed in this league, so it's another way for us to get out and be able to move mid-turn rather than Quick Switch. Although admittedly, unless Jolteon's slowed down, Baton Pass isn't really any different than a Hard Switch. Lastly, Jolteon also has access to screens. We actually have a good amount of access to screens, so we have lots of options of where it can come from if I feel screens are going to come into play later on. So, that's about it for Jolteon. That's 3 picks in. You can see we've got Water Fairy, Electric, Ground, and Flying. Pretty decent moveset, so we got to keep working on these cores here. We got to start getting our main typings in, get some more offense, because we've kind of got our utility in Jolteon. Good special with Primarina and a defensive typing and a good physical attacker, just freaking bus of an attacker in Landorus. So next up, tier 4 picks. So obviously I was the last pick of tier 4 as well, if you're following along in the snake type draft. So things are starting to get picked over at this point, and I decided I wanted to go ahead and get another core started. We actually have 3 cores on this team, as well as continue another one. And so we picked up Virizion, the 100-point grass fighting type. Virizion is a really nice Pokemon. It's another legendary there, so you know we got the legendary squad. He's always going to have the justified ability, so when he gets hit, he's going to take an attack boost. I think it might just be super effective hits. Admittedly, I'm not the most familiar with justified. That's not really why I picked Virizion, but it's nice to have it. So, Virizion is part of the Water, Fire, Grass core, but he's also part of a potential Psychic, Dark, Fighting core, which is a core I'm less familiar with, but it's nice to have the option there. Base stat-wise, looking at Virizion, he's got good HP and attack. He's got 91 HP, 90 attack, 72 defense, 90 special attack, 129 special defense, and 108 speed. So he is, I believe, the second fastest Pokemon on our team naturally, and he has a lot of special bulk. His physical bulk's okay. HP is sort of just kind of divided between the two. If you want to pick a specific defense stat, it's always going to be better for you, but HP is pretty sweet as well. So overall, pretty darn bulky mon, excellent shiny, so it's going to look great if we bring a shiny form of it along with us to a battle. Plus, it's just got some other stuff going for it. It's got quick attack, just like Jolteon, for just a basic +1 priority if we ever need to get a quick, 2% off to knock something out. It's a good thing to remember, maybe a good thing to carry. It also has screens available to it, and Taunt is a nice move that we can use to kind of prevent any Trick Room teams we go up against. If we have any weather teams that need a hard weather setter, which is what we would be if we ran weather, but don't really have a weather core on this team. But we have Taunt as an access point. I believe we have 3 mons that have Taunt, so that's pretty nice. And it gives us that grass type for the core, for the coverage, and the fighting type, same as well. So that is pick number 4, Virizion. And next up, Pokemon you've seen on my Arkansas Pigknights teams before. Pick number 5, Gudra, the Dragon type at 120 points. Gudra is going to be part of that Dragon Steel Fairy core. Admittedly, I was thinking about Druddigon, I was thinking about Noivern. We ended up with 3 flying types, spoiler alert, so probably better I didn't get Noivern, but I kind of wanted Noivern to switch it up. But Goombi the Gudra is going to make a comeback. So obviously, Dragon Steel Fairy core, as I said. It's got a great move pool. It gets access to some great poison moves, some fire moves, some electric moves. I think it gets Power Whip. It gets Blizzard and Ice Beam. It gets all its dragon moves, obviously. His move pool is amazing. Plus, he's very, very, very specially defensive and honestly not that slow. Base stat wise, looking at Gudra while we're talking about it, we have 90 HP, 100 attack, 70 defense as the lowest stat, 110 special attack, 150 special defense, super specially bulky, and 80 speed. So a little bit slower, but not the slowest mon on our team. But Gudra altogether looking great, has access to a bunch of great abilities. It has Sap Sipper, Hydration, and Gooey. Sap Sipper is going to give us a grass type immunity and raise our attack stat, which is already decent despite being a primary special attacker. And we also have Hydration, which will cure status ailments in the rain if we ever go against a rain team and we want to kind of keep that around, or we want to run Rain Dance ourselves on something. Plus, we have Gooey, which means when we get hit with a contact move, we're going to slow their speed down, which can be very, very, very helpful against a lot of mons that just help us with speed control, really, because we kind of lack some speed control options in this particular team makeup other than having 2 Trick Room setters that we'll talk about here in a little bit. So that is Gudra. What else do I want to say about Gudra? It's like I said, it gets access to a couple of weathers, all those nice abilities, and that's really about it. It has Feint as well, which is a move that allows us to break through, protect, and detect. I don't know that I'm quite experienced enough to read that, but it is nice to have it. Next up, let me go ahead and make sure that I'm still not skipping anybody. Yep, pick number 6, the 80-point Psychic Flying type, Xatu. So Xatu is here is it's another ground immunity, obviously. It's our first psychic type. We do have 2 psychic types, another one coming up later. Flying and psychic are our repeated types. We ended up with 3 flying types and 2 psychic types. You don't love it, but it is what it is. Ultimately, I think we're missing ice and normal and maybe one other type. Ice, normal, and rock is what we're missing. So we got 15 of the 18 types, and we didn't overlap all that much. We don't have really any single type mons, I don't think, outside of Gudra, so that's interesting as well. But anyway, back to Xatu. Xatu has a ground immunity. It is a good potential part of that Fighting Dark Psychic core. It's got some great ability to hit with psychic type moves, and it's got a really solid ability in magic bounce. It's a really good way for us to control hazards, is if we can read them, or we see a hazard setter or a team that's really going to be heavy in hazards, we can hard swap or lead, depending on where we're at in the match, to Xatu if we're running magic bounce, and it bounces those things back onto the other side of the screen, the other team, so we don't have to deal with it. On top of that, it gets access to defog, so if we get it wrong, we can always move out with defog, and we can clear the field. It's also a wish passer, which is pretty great. It can wish and just heal someone the next turn, or if it's going down, you want to get a wish off for someone else, you can always do that. Priority-wise, it's got Quick Attack and Sucker Punch, which is a dark type coverage move, obviously. It's great to have. We also have a Baton Pass, again, Dry Baton Pass allowed. U-turn and teleport, which is -6 priority, so teleport can be advisable in certain situations, and it has access to screens, so it's going to be giving us a lot of utility. It's going to be giving us a better flying type stab, I feel like, than Landorus, just because move pool wise we do get fly, we get air slash, and a couple other things. I think we have access to Tailwind on this, but I could be wrong. And let's go over his base, his gosh darn base stats real quick, because he is getting into one of our lower picks here. Might be the lowest one yet. Nope, tied with Jolteon. But anyway, HP 65, attack 75, defense 70, special attack 95, special defense 70, speed 95. So he's all right. He's relatively fast, just on the bottom of that fast zone, but I've seen some pretty cool scarf sets with him before, so if we want to kind of dominate with him, we can figure it out. All right, let's get into pick number 7, guys. We're coming into the latter half here. We're getting ready to walk our way through the end of this particular draft analysis and get into week 1, which I'm excited about. I'm kind of actually stressed out about it, but we'll get to that when the team builder comes around. All right, so number 7, 120 points again with the Dark Steel type Bisharp. So Bisharp's a Pokemon that I know is really good. People really like Bisharp, but to be honest with you guys, I'd kill Bisharp every time I use him. Every single time I use him, he dies. But I'm really hoping to turn that around. Plus, he brings us some cool more immunities with a poison immunity because of his steel type and a psychic immunity because of his dark type. He is a really bulky mon. I really enjoy him just defensively, and he also has a great attack stat. He's a really good potential life orb user. He's part of that Steel Fairy Dragon core and the Psychic Dark Fighting core. So obviously, when we have all these mons that fit multiple cores, it's a lot easier for us to bring 2 cores on one team. Let me take a quick drink. On top of that, he's also got access to Stab Sucker Punch, which is amazing. A Stab Life Orb Sucker Punch will OHKO a non-invested Dragapult. That's amazing. It's like the fastest mon in the format. It's a great way to counter it. He's also got a really powerful Stab knockoff, and he's a taunt user. And he's got a pretty decent move pool. He's got a couple of good fighting moves. He's got some good steel moves. He's got Iron Head for flinching. And on top of that, he's got those good dark moves that we're going over right now. And let's go over his stats real quick. So we're going to scroll up here. Ability-wise, he also has access to Defiant, Inner Focus, and Pressure. Pressure's not super great, but Defiant is great if we think we're going to have somebody playing a lot of games with our stats, and Inner Focus is great if we think we're going to be fighting a flinch team. So, stat-wise, 65 HP, nothing to write home about. I'm going to skip some, we're going to come back. Special attack, 60, special D, 70, and speed, 70. Kind of slow, understandable, he is made of metal. But, again, that physical bulk and physical hit that I was telling you about, 125 base attack and 100 defense. It's amazing. Is he the most defensive mon on our team? Nope, we got Duskclops. So he's Duskclops and Vespaquin actually is really close. But by the way, spoiler alert for what we have left coming up on the team. But Bisharp is super, super defensive, ready to hit. He's second only to our boy Landorus in the physical department. So really excited to have him on the team. Really excited to hopefully not kill him every time I'm using him this time. Obviously, he has a quad weakness to fighting, but we have lots of flying types to help us combat that, so let's hope that works out for us. Next up, our pick number 8 was 120 points, our last pick before we get into the really low point amounts. This is where everybody's kind of running dry in the draft, but I really needed a poison type. I'd been sniped for like 4 poison types in a row. And this is where we get our double psychic type as well in Galarian Slowking, the brand new Crown Tundra Pokemon. Obviously couldn't even have been in this last season. He's brand new to the game. And I'm excited to give him a try. I think he's going to be pretty decent. Yeah, as I said, he's poison psychic type, which means he has a quad fighting resist, which is really good after coming off of Bisharp. These 2 Pokemon actually got picked together. And on top of that, he can be in that dark fighting psychic core. His poison is amazing. He's got a little bit less of weaknesses than Slowbro, but I think in order to get that, he also, than regular Slowking, but he also traded off in getting less resistances, I'm pretty sure. So it is what it is, but he's got part of that core, and he's really specially bulky, and his special offense can actually be okay. So going over his base stats real quick, he is 95 HP, awesome. 65 attack, it's okay, he doesn't really have a lot of physical need here. 80 defense, which is still pretty solid, 110 special attack and special defense, and 30 base speed. He is the slowest Pokemon on our team by a good bit, which makes him the primary Trick Room candidate. If he's ever really good, we're going to use Trick Room with him because he can set it and he can operate in it. But we'll see how that goes. Ability-wise, he's got access to the new ability Curious Medicine, which I believe cures status conditions on Switch Out. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't planned to use it yet, but it's a cool ability one way or the other. He's got Own Tempo, which is also a fantastic ability, but what I really wanted was the Regenerator ability, his hidden ability. That's going to heal 1/3 of your health every time he switches out. It's going to be amazing with that special bulk. You get him in, he can wall something for a long time and get some good switches in and out. You just got to avoid those ground types, you know? So that's Galarian Slowking. As I said, he's good under Trick Room. He can set it, and he's fast under setting it. He's got the Regenerator ability, and we needed that poison type coverage. So we led to Galarian Slowking. I was really struggling to get a cheaper poison type at this point, and that's just what we got. So next up, pick number 9. Finishing up another core, we have the Fire type Heatmore at 40 points. So obviously part of that Fire Water Grass core. Heatmore is a little bit of a budget Fire type pick, but I'm hoping he's going to be okay. He's got the Gluttony ability, Flash Fire ability, I don't know why I got so southern, and the White Smoke ability, which are all great options. Flash Fire obviously giving us a potential fire type immunity, which I think is the last one, bringing us up to a 7 type immunity, I believe, across our team. 7 out of 18 types we have a potential immunity to. That's insane, okay? That's some good read potential right there. So, he's got, decent fire type moves. He really is the fire type coverage, finishing that core, but he also has access to Sucker Punch, Taunt, and Knockoff, which are great moves to have him around for. And that's really all there is to say about him. These last ones are really kind of getting what you can get, less to say about them, more about letting them talk with their actions later. So, pick number 10, our second to last pick. We picked 10 and 11 at the same time, so these last 2 picks were picked together, just trying to round out some type coverage and get some defensive bulk, get some options on the squad. So next up, we have 60 points for our pick number 10 in Duskclops. I chose Duskclops over Dusknoir just because, honestly, with Eviolite, I'm fine running Eviolite on him every week. I know that makes him a knockoff target, but I try not to switch him in on a knockoff anyway because he's a ghost type, and his defense is just ungodly good. His base stats are 40 HP, 70 attack, 130 defense, 60 special attack, 130 special defense, and 25 speed. I misspoke earlier. He's our slowest Pokemon. But that's okay because he's also a Trick Room setter. So we have Duskclops. With the Eviolite, you're talking about Duskclops having, 195 defense and 195 special defense? That is insane, you guys. He's so bulky, and he's the ghost type that our team needed, and he's got that Frisk ability I was missing from Noivern a little bit ago. So that's a pretty awesome option there. Pressure is obviously around as well, but Frisk, I think, is the more useful ability in this format. So pretty good. He's going to be a great Trick Room setter and attacker. Some people think he's the best Trick Room setter in the game right now, which is pretty crazy. I know a lot of our team doesn't really work with that, but if we work around room service or some negative speed natures, potentially where you might not see him, no investment, that kind of thing, we might be able to pull it off against particularly fast teams as an option. So we have it there. He's got lots of good status moves. He's got Will-O-Wisp, things like that. I like using him. He's got Hex, which is great. He's got Poltergeist, the new move that does a lot of... It's a super powerful ghost type move if you're running an item, and almost every single Pokemon in the Draft League format is going to run an item, so worth checking out. Plus, he has that normal fighting type immunity. I lied, there's the last 2. I'm pretty sure that is 7 immunities, though. It's pretty crazy. He also has Shadow Sneak for stab priority, and Taunt again. I believe he's our final Taunt user, and you just love to have that around for when you need it. Last pick of the draft, though. I'm down. At this point, I need Bug, Rock, Ice, and Normal. Not a lot of good options here, especially considering I only have 20 points left. So I make the call, and I grab Vespaquin. Vespaquin, the Bug Flying type, was our last pick at 20 points. It is definitely the budget Bug pick, but you know what? Bug-wise, it's got some good options. It's got, I believe, the best Bug special and physical attack. I don't remember where they are right now. Well, obviously, one of them is Bug Buzz. I think the other one might be Attack Order. But it's got good access to those Bug Stab, it's got good Flying Stab, and it can do a lot of other stuff, like setting Toxic Spikes, which is great. It's our third potential setter of things. We don't have a Spike setter on our squad, but we do have Toxic Spikes and 2 people who can set Stealth Rocks in Bisharp and Landorus, so pretty good. On top of that, we can also have Defog here and Aromatherapy, which is another status cure that you'd love to see. And we also have Stab U-Turn for momentum gaining, and honestly, the wrong Pokemon has a hard time dealing with Vespaquin. So we've got Pressure, we've got Unnerve. Unnerve can be great if we're trying to keep someone from using a berry we know is going to be really effective. So playing around that, and that's it for Vespaquin. Also pretty decent under Trick Room. Vespaquin's got 40 speed, so if we're ever running a Trick Room team, Vespaquin can be more useful there, kind of bringing our average speed down a little bit. So Vespaquin's base stats, for anybody curious, is 70 HP, 80 attack, 102 defense, and special defense, 80 special attack, and 40 speed. So all right attack, a little on the lower side, but pretty good bulk as far as, honestly, HP stats, not terrible, but the defense stats are great. And, it's got a quad weakness as well, I believe. Maybe it's not quad weak. Is it quad weak to... No, it's weak to flying. Yeah, it's got a lot of weaknesses, I know. It's not a great defensive typing, but it's going to help us out if we ever face a psychic heavy team or something. I wanted the options. I like the Toxic Spikes. I think it's going to be okay. And that is the squad. So one more time for you guys at home wanting to walk through the team with me again. We have Landorus, Therian, Primarina, Jolteon, Verizon, Gudra, Zeta, Bisharp, Slowking, Gallion, Heatmore, Duskclops, and Vespaquin. So we have a Water Fire Grass core, a Dragon Steel Fairy core, and a Fighting Dark Psychic core, as well as a Volt Turn core. We have lots of U-turn options. We have several hazard setters. We have some basic priority, including some stab priority in there. We have a decent amount of Wish Pashers, Heal Bale, Aromatherapy, Heal Bale. I'm really struggling with the Southern today. We have several defoggers, which is really nice. We don't have any spinners, but we have several defoggers, and we got that magic bounce. We have several knockoff users, several people with ability to momentum in and out, as well as taunt users and screen setters. So we have lots of options. Going over our average stats real quick for you guys so you have an idea of where we're at as a squad. Our average HP is 76, average attack is 90, average defense is 83, average special attack is 96, special defense 102. Obviously we're a little more bulky on the special side, and our average speed is 72, so kind of low middle there. But we have some fast mons, we have some slow mons, we have some medium mons that hit pretty damn hard, and that's what we're looking for here in the season. Our first match is going to be against Howler and the Delta Glygars next week. That should be going up, shoot, let me look. I believe the upload date is the 21st. We're also going to be having the FBL starting soon, so watch out for that draft analysis video. That's going to be a National Dex Showdown League with 8 players and 16 mon team. So that draft analysis is going to be pretty long. That battle will be going up next week as well against Cool Cat, taking him on. I believe he was the second person we fought when we took over the team last season. I'm excited about that one too. It's a little overwhelming with 16 mons, but if you guys enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you want some more competitive content. I'm going to be streaming more often over here as well with both Pokemon shiny hunting, Pokemon breeding, Pokemon laddering, as well as just other games. I really want to play some Mario, some Spyro. PlayStation 5's coming out soon. I want to pick one of those up. It's going to be pretty fun to play some of those games. Really excited about the Miles Morales Spider-Man. So, let me know what you guys are excited for coming up on the channel. I'm really glad to be back. Thanks for your support and subscribing and liking and everything. And I'll catch you guys back here for the battle very soon.